All right, cool. We are back. We are back. Uh, Episode part two. There's echo somewhere. We'll find that a little bit later. All right, so we are back. So today we are honoring Martin Luther King Day. What we're doing is we're talking about entrepreneurship. We have a few entrepreneurs in the room with us today. Um, our first guest up is the CEO of H's Express himself. This guy have done everything you can think of with launching a business on his own, with his own knowledge and wisdom. Um, One of my best friends, 10 years in the military, married, a few kids, um, a lot of great things like that. But I'm gonna let him talk a little bit more about himself. So, Mr. Harris Harrington, go up first, my man.
All right, what's up, y'all? Like I said, I'm Paris Harrington. I launched H's Express probably, well, I started the idea, I want to say probably a year ago. Started executing, but didn't really push into it until recently, where started the LLC back in October, and then I launched the business. I want to say it was January the 14th. So, um, yeah, well, I mean, let's see what kind of questions we got.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions here that I want to ask you. So the first question I want to ask is number one, hey, your ambition behind you starting your business. What was that and why?
Uh, so it started off just uh, got out the military, retired back in January of this 2021, and never in a million years did I ever buy shoes. Like I always, anybody know me while I was in the military or throughout life, I was always known for running shoes, some sweats, some joggers, t-shirt. So got a little bored back in January, and I went to Foot Locker looking for some Air Max. I did wear Air Max 90s, but I was like, I'm just going to get some Air Max, some all blacks. So I go in here as a young dude working, and he was like, "Man, you should try out these Jordans." They came out at the time. I didn't know what they were. They were Jordan 13 retros with reverse flute. So instead of being red on black, it's black on them. They just swapped it. He was like, they got a size 9. I was like, okay, I'll try them out. Was not gonna buy them. I just didn't see the point in life of buying $190 pair of shoe unless it was like for running or something. So I put the shoe on, and next thing you know, I was like, man, this shoe feels great. He was like, man, I told you, bro, it's amazing, ain't it? I walked around the store. Uh, Ended up going to the counter. I think I ended up with a military discount and ended up getting it for like 160. Like, dude was like real cool. And then from there, I just really started collecting shoes, and I think I'm at like 60 something pair now. It's crazy. It's like I've been catching up on everything I've been working on my whole life. Uh, from there, it came another challenge, which was I started shopping for clothes and trying to match it up. And it was a pair of shoes that came out. They were called the foam Volt color. I don't know if y'all familiar with those, but they literally like foam and the Volt color. And when I tried to match it up, I don't know if y'all know, but like the Volt color is very hard to match. I actually got the hoodie from my cousin that actually matched it up. He's in ATL as well, and could not find any color to match this color boat that was on these shoes. And I was like, how hard is it, man? And how hard is it to just take an emblem, put it on a shirt, and then be able to push a colorway out? Um, I started trying to do that, and then I was like, okay, let me see. So I ended up hitting my cousin up, and I was like, yo, I see him. I always wanted to show my little cousin some love. He's got a company called December 26 out of ATL, and um, once I ended up buying a hoodie from him, it was the exact color of the shoes. I was like, yo, what are the odds? I went through all these different stores, Foot Locker, Adidas, Nike, Jordan, and I could not find a colorway for these shoes. And I found it with my cousin. And at the time, I think the ambition behind it, to get back to the question, it all boils into that one situation that happened is that I wanted to bring something that was simple and to the point where like a lot of older people, I love to wear clothes, but at the same time, it's hard to find clothes that are just like simple. You know, a lot of stuff, a lot of the clothes that are out now, nothing against them and more power to them. There's a lot going on the shirt, and sometimes you just want that simple logo that's just there, just a simple shirt. Anybody that wears clothes know that anytime you can't find a shirt, you either throw on a white tee or a black tee. And then who's to say that there can't be a white tee or black tee that has that color that you're looking for whenever you get ready to wear it? And I think that's where the ambition came from, just knowing that. So
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So another great leader that we also have on the panel with us is my man, the pastor of Temple of Peace, Pastor Johnson. Pastor Johnson has a church located in Manhattan, Kansas, uh, doing great things with the youth, doing great things in the community. Um, so we're inviting him to the panel with us today to get a more of a religious opinion based on entrepreneurship. Uh, Trying to address this question correctly because I realize I wrote it completely wrong. But yeah, we invite Pastor Johnson to speak with us today to talk about leadership and entrepreneurship.
About leadership and what's that again?
Entrepreneurship.
Well, God bless each and every one of you. I'm glad to be on this panel, this podcast with such great men. And I commend each and every one of you for the capacity of the man that you are on today, on this the day that we celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King. When it comes to leadership and entrepreneurship, the first thing that I would like to identify that must be a part of a leader's character is a leader must be flexible and a leader must have integrity. Not only does he have to have integrity and be flexible, but it is my profound thoughts and opinion that a leader has to be one of responsibility. So, what does that look like in entrepreneurship? Well, that looks like what I teach every entrepreneur and share with every entrepreneur that comes through the doors of our worship facility. That is a founding business owner, entrepreneur must be one who is willing to sacrifice for his or her own dream. What does that mean? And it's so relevant to even mention a dream because of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. And he said something about that place in Georgia. He says that we were hewn out of the mountain of Georgia, a stone of despair. So we must understand that as a entrepreneurship, one that's rooted and grounded in integrity, responsibility, and flexibility, you must be willing to fund your dream until your dream comes to pass. And
Mhm.
how do I know my dream has come to pass? I know my dream has come to pass when I start seeing the manifestations of my business and my entrepreneurship skills beginning to look like what I had on the canvas of my imagination. If it does not look like what you imagine, you have not tapped into your dream. Brother Samuel, we thank you for this time to share and I avail myself, and I'm subject to any questions that you may have. But that, in a nutshell, is what I think about entrepreneurship and the leadership aspect of it. And I'm pleased to say that God has allowed me and granted me the opportunity to help birth restaurants, to help birth shoe stores, to help birth concrete and construction businesses, to help birth counseling and consulting businesses. So it's not just talk, it's talk with action. So thank you for this time and blessings to each and every one of you.
Okay. So those was the warm up questions for you guys. So with me today is my boy Daniel Evans. Daniel Evans, if you don't know, he has his own show called Den, Live from the Den. Am I correct?
Inside the Den.
Inside the Den, inside the
Yeah.
Den, where he does a lot of mentorship, youth development, a lot of things in the community. We also have on the line today is Mr. PJ Barnes, another great advocate in the community. Um, Works with the Army, been in the Army for, you said, 6 years, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be asking you guys, one, the CEO of H Express, and then the pastor of Temple of Peace. We're gonna ask you guys a few questions. The topics are based on leadership, execution, and strategy. The reason why Martin Luther King, in his speech, uh, displayed all these attributes. So my next question I have, that I personally have for H's Express, is with the COVID cases rising, where do you see your business going in the future?
So with the COVID cases rising, I really think that it's going to be a lot of marketing when it comes to online, just like we're doing now, a lot of video calling. If the pandemic has shown us anything, is that, we don't have to be in a brick building, glass building in order to do business. A lot of big companies actually moved to telework. And then they started moving into it. I'm not sure if y'all up to date with everything going on with the metaverse. I am really trying to learn a lot more about that due to the fact of, they see a lot of the big companies and businesses moving to the metaverse and being able to push out, business meetings or business conventions through those different things. So I see, from as far as my business, I see a lot of online sales, but I do see eventually getting back to those controlled environments, like prior to COVID. But most obviously a lot of people have to show their credentials, and even then, it's still you still at risk in order to get there. So I see a lot of online stuff or a lot of virtual stuff going now.
All right, I'm also open this question up to the panel. If anybody want to ask any questions to Pastor Johnson or to the CEO of H Express, you guys are more than welcome to. What I'm trying to build today is just a pathway of wisdom to pass on to other entrepreneurs out there that's watching, listening into the conversation. So, did you
So
guys
I
have
got a
any?
question for H Express CEO. Do you actually do the sewing or for your actual brand, or is that done by somebody else? I know you said you had to get your fabric and all that kind of stuff, and you got your logo and all that. How did you get all that done? Is that something you outsource, or that's something you do with your own hands?
So the material itself, I outsourced for now. The everything else is done by me. So I had to. It took me about 3 months of messing up hoodies, messing up shirts, messing up fabrics, all different types. For me to learn what embroidery was. My next thing I want to learn how to do is sew. I have a sewing machine and an embroidery machine mixed together. I use the Brother SC600, and so like for this example, like this, everything was done by me. Learning the stabilizer, learning the different things like that. I want to move to my brand is going to be a luxury brand, so it's going to have that luxury feel to it. In order for me to do that, get ready to take a lot of trips. I don't. I got to plan them all out, but for the most part, my goal is to have at least 3 or 4 trips. With before August of this year, where I'm going different places where it's manufacturers, where I can actually see different types of fabrics, so I can eventually get to a point where somebody else is doing that, and I can work on exclusive projects. So as of right now, the material is being ordered, but everything that goes on it, the thought process that goes into it, the colorways, is all done by me. To answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, so I have a question for Pastor Johnson. What is a fear that you have about the future? So with the COVID cases rising and your church developing, what is a fear that you have about the future?
Uh, really, to be perfectly honest with you, I believe in hope. I believe in hope, and I'm a strong advocate of the faith in which I practice. So to be honest, man, I don't have any fears. The only fear that I could speak on concerning development is the fact that we as a social people will become unsocialized. And so, with that being a fear for the future, that means that our children would now be limited in their social skills, their reading, their writing, their articulation of speech. That's really the only fear that I see that is being presented to us even now with the shutdowns and the desocialization of us as a people, and with the mask wearing, because that limits people with the ability to interpret sign and body language. So that's my fear, the fear of socialization, to where people will become isolated and will not buy into the fact that we need one another to survive.
Okay, so as we go further in these questions may become uncomfortable. At any point, it gets too uncomfortable. You guys do not have to answer the question. Uh, Martin Luther King spoke, had a great piece on freedom. So within you guys' businesses, do you feel free?
I think I had touched on it earlier when I was talking about my personal experience. But as it pertains to Martin Luther King and the Black movement, um, I don't think that we're going to be completely free in business until we learn how to patronize our own people in the matter of, going back to, the Black Wall Street, where we can actually be accountable for the dollars that's made and spent in our communities, because that's when you have true power, when you can spend your money with your brother and you help your brother's businesses grow, and he helps your business grow, and you don't have to go to the government for any type of funding. You can get it all in the community. Back in the day, or black in the day, whenever they had a community of blacks uh, sticking together on one accord, they were able to get a lot of comfort because they didn't have to go to the government and any kind of handouts. It was all self-sustained inside the organization, inside the community. So if in terms of being free, as long as you have to depend on, we have to depend on people in order to make money. We have to depend on our people. We got to depend on other people. But you look at some of these other races, man, some of the Indians and the Chinese, they really pull together to when they come to supporting each other. They really, really do pull together. And that's something that I feel that us as a community, we don't do. We don't spend our money with each other. We'll spend it anywhere. You know what I mean? We don't care what we to get the best deal or whatever. We don't care where we got to go. But when we get to a point when we can actually, spend our money together and patronize our own people, then I think we'll truly be able to get our power back from society when we're dealing with, trying to grow as a people.
Okay. Definitely love it. So my next question I got is Martin Luther King birthed black lost it. Should have wrote it down. Well, black excellence. He's birthed black excellence within the community. With this being the first federal holiday, how has black excellence been displayed in your community? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, you want me to answer? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Okay.
it's on the floor, baby.
Okay. I think it's been displayed. It could always be displayed more. I think when it comes to black excellence, it gets downplayed a lot on the great things that we do. Um, I feel like that uh, we gotta continue to move forward when it comes to the goals and the admirations that we have. If we don't, then we just get stuck in idle. I feel like in the community, everything gets tied together so much, it just becomes like an everyday thing. Oh, they this person did that, this person does this, and even the great accomplishments. So if you were able, like I use yourself for example, you know, when was the last time that a black person was in Kansas and hosted a basketball camp? You know, it's probably quite a few black people out there that's doing basketball camps or doing nonprofit organizations, but at the same time, in that community, if we actually went and asked, you know, 7 random people from your community, I'm not talking like, oh, let's ask, you know, people that are outside of the community or like that are well known. I'm talking like the people that live, you know, 3 apartments over that are the average everyday people. When is the last time you had the opportunity to put your son or daughter in some type of program so they could get any type of stuff? They're like, I ain't never. How old are you? Oh, I'm 32 years old. So in 32 years in this small community, this person, you know, Royal Enterprise, Samuel Williams, has been able to come there and create something that ain't been there 32 years. Will they get downplayed? Of course it'll get downplayed, but it's on us to, you know what I'm saying, to help that rise up and bring that glorification to it as, you know, as it see fit, you know? So I can't speak for the community around here too much. My wife is Army, so we're just stationed up here in Seattle. So we've been doing a lot of moving out. So I will say in my hometown, where I'm from, Jackson, Mississippi, from where it was back in 2007 when I graduated high school to where it is now, it's like night and day. Still a lot of crazy stuff that happens there, just like anywhere in the world, but it's a lot of entrepreneurship that is going there. So I would say the black community there has done well. So
We
Okay,
also
Pastor
have to get.
Johnson.
Go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, Lion.
Yeah, I was just going to say that we have to get into a place where we want to see each other win and stop with the crab in the bucket mentality. You know, we talk about black excellence. You know, blacks has been responsible for birthing a lot of different things. You know, and when we come down to the excellence part, we have to be the ambassadors of each other. You know, we have to be our brother's keeper. We have to be the one that keep our brother's dreams alive. You know, instead of downplaying somebody like Express said, we need to be able to uplift our brothers. We need to be able to help our brothers win instead of having that crab in a bucket mentality, because that is the number one plague that's killing the black excellence is us.
And if I could speak to this excellence thing for a moment, and I compliment everyone on everything that they shared, but I think this is our community here, and this is a display of our excellence, even with us exchanging thoughts and ideas and what have you. But when we look at this Martin Luther King perspective, what we have to understand and know is that Martin Luther King's perspective of Black excellence was because we were ridiculed as Blacks. And even in his striving to create Black excellence, there was still animosity among the Black people with all he had did. I don't know how many of you all are historians, but when we look at the march that Martin Luther King had before he did his last speech, which was in Memphis, Tennessee, that was the last time he spoke. And when he was shot at the Lorraine Hotel, and his last speech was at the Church of God in Christ in Memphis, Tennessee, Mason Temple. What we gather from that is in that march, there was an insurrection even amongst us as Blacks. What the white community had done is it had used us against us, even in the support of us. So, what Martin Luther King was trying to do, even in the middle of that march, where he had to be rescued, pulled out, sent to the hotel. And when he went to the hotel to speak to the people, Jesse Jackson, and others, as they were on the balcony, that was the setup to his murder. So what we have to understand is even with Black excellence, we must understand what the grassroots are of our movement. Is the Black excellence the grassroots of our movement centered around making money? Is it a money making idea? Is it all about us having money? Is it really about the unity? Is it about education? Is it about justice? Is it about freedom? what is our grassroots movement and how does excellence look in that? Because I will share with you wholeheartedly, I have promoted a lot of Black businesses. But when I promote a lot of Black businesses, what tends to happen to me is because as they look at me as the pot of gold, as the end of the rainbow, they try to hit the home run on every sale that we have. Y'all ain't never had that experience, though, right? Yeah, y'all ain't never had that experience. When
Oh
nobody got
yeah.
to hit a home run, and so and with that, and that's what Martin Luther King was trying to teach us, that if we support us and have excellence in what we do, we don't have to rob, we don't have to beg, we don't have to borrow, we don't have to steal. We can sustain each other by supporting each other from a pure place, from a peaceful place, and from an enjoyable place, to where we look for you when it's time to do business. We look for each other when it's time to have support. But the Black community, in my estimation, has since dissolved. We live in our suburbs, we live in our sealed houses, and we are no longer connected as a people to understand what the Black movement is all about. So for me, Black excellence in this season is this community right here of Black men who have vowed to be leaders and to share thoughts and ideas and to strategize about the next generation's future.
I got a question for Pastor Tommy, relating to Martin Luther King. In his one of his final speeches, we he been talking about we shall overcome, and talking about getting to the promised land and things like that. And then I believe one of his speeches, he said that he feared that he had led his people into a burning house, because I feel like at that
Mm-hmm.
point he felt like, no matter what we do, we're not going to be able to win a particular battle. And you being a little older than I am, I know you can speak on it a whole lot
Man,
better.
dude,
What are your thoughts on being, having everybody on one accord, marching for freedom and for equal rights, and then for Martin Luther King to say that I fear that I've led my people into a burning house? Give me your thoughts on that as it pertains to Black excellence.
well, it's just like anything. It's just like anything. And I appreciate your question. It's just like anything. There comes a time where you become mentally weary, and where the results of what you are striving to accomplish become delayed. And that's what it's all about. That's why, if you remember, I alluded to, even with the establishment of business, of being flexible, of being integral and holding that seat of responsibility. How long are you willing to hold on to the dream and pursue the dream until it gets to the place where you want it to be? And I believe in my heart that's where Martin Luther King was. He was at a place where he seen people being brutally murdered. They were being beat. They was continuously being mistreated. And out of everything that he was able to do as a man, his people still weren't prospering. And I just think that statement came from a mental anguish, because as we see now, all his laboring has yielded fruit in you and I. So I think that was just a place of mental anguish that came from stress and anxiety concerning the whole movement and the environment and atmosphere of the time in which he was leading in.
Man, hey, great answer. You got another question you
do,
want to ask?
I do think on
Mm.
that. I think I know. Obviously, Martin Luther King was probably mad and at a very angry place. But just playing the advocate on the opposite advocate on that. I mean, if he said it, but if what I'm saying, it had to be some truth to it. to see how much you've done, and then to feel like you said, I feel like I've took my people to a burning house, a burning building. I feel like that's one of those sayings that go, in today's society, you can't lead somebody to somewhere that you've never been, and you can now because we're in a different age and different day. But I think he might have been looking at it from that perspective, like, man, I did all of this and we still right here, and um obviously, Martin Luther King, I guarantee he did not know how tough it was gonna be to do what he was trying to do. Obviously, he knew it was gonna be very, very hard, but he was like, "Yo, I'm up for it." And obviously, if anybody did it, it was Martin Luther King. He definitely put us in perspective so that we could continue to keep fighting. But when that saying comes out, I'm like, yo, he knew exactly. To me, it seemed like he knew exactly what he was saying. He's like, man, he was just angry and so mad. But sometimes when we angry and mad, that's when the best or the truth comes out in us. Like you can feel like that. It's hard to actually put the words that I'm saying into perspective, but I can see it all the time. Like I look at some people and I just say, how can you tell me what to do and you haven't even done it yourself, And I feel like that's where a lot of people, it was hard to get behind what he was trying to do because they were so stuck in their ways and they couldn't see, what he was saying. Sometimes your vision, that's one thing I'm learning about entrepreneurship is sometimes it's not for everybody to see your vision. You keep waking up. I was talking to somebody the other day. They said they keep seeing themselves in a car, a nice car, a huge house, and I'm like, that's your vision. That's God manifesting in you, showing you your path, and whether or not you take it's not a coincidence. You keep having this dream over and over and over, and seeing your company over and over, and you at the top, and you leading people, and you bringing people up with you. It's not just coincidence that you just keep having this dream. People are like, oh, that's because you keep thinking about it before you go to sleep. That is not that. You know what I mean? So um it's definitely there. So
Let's play devil's advocate for a minute because I had this question before and I really want to dive in. And like you said before, some of these topics might make people uncomfortable, but that's what we're here for, to have an expression of different opinion. What if the reason he said that was because if you're reading the Bible says the last shall be first and the first shall be last. What if we wasn't what we never supposed to be created equal? What if we was always supposed to be last so that we can be first in heaven? Or what are we fighting for? Because this is my thing. If we believe that we are the superior race, and I'm going to use my cars as an analogy. I have two Dodge Challengers. One of them is a V6. One of them is a Hellcat V8. Okay. The V6 is shiny and pretty, cleaned up, and it's my newest one. The V8, let's say that is a older model. It's got a rustic look on it. It's got a better engine. It's faster, but the one on the left is newer and it's more shinier. If they both got into a race, the V8 is going to take off and leave the V6 in the dust. What if we're that V8? We got a better engine under the hood. We got better tires. We got better car, but we're trying to be created equal or trying to be treated equal to a V6, which is pretty and fancy, and it has to it has to cheat in order to win because it can't win. So as a people, we've been persecuted, we've been looked down, they have tried every trick in the book to keep us from being successful because they know that we are more stronger, more powerful, and we're a better brand, a better race of people. So what are we fight? Why would we be fighting to be equal to something that is less than us versus trying to just take what we got and make it? Because ain't no way in the world they're gonna be able to beat us if we stick together. And so the question comes in when he said, I feel like I led my people into a burning building. What if it was never meant for us to be first so that we can be first in heaven instead of being first on earth? What if we were never meant to live a life of luxury because we was built for struggle, we was built for strength, and we was built for muscle instead of speed? What if
But I think at the end of the day, I mean that becomes on the individual itself. Because I mean, I honestly believe there is nobody that is greater than the other. I don't care. Me personally, I'm like I don't care if you black, white, oompa loompa, Asian. Everybody know me. I'm always gonna hold to my value, which is everybody is equal. And at the end of the day, if somebody else don't feel that way, I got two options. Either I can try to persuade them or show them the light, or I can continue on the path that I'm on, which is, and then when you get into a bigger window or a bigger platform, you'll be able to influence more. I I understand the angle that you're coming at. I always feel like that ultimately if we were not meant to run in that race, I mean, it's always going to be like everything was progressing. I understood throughout civil rights history, everybody that helped throughout civil rights had their agenda. Like, hey, I want the right to I want the same as every other person, whether they were white, black, oopa loopa, whatever they were. But I tell people at the same time, like in today's society, what is it that you want? Like for me, I'm like, hey, I feel like that we can me as a black person, I can create a brand that's equivalent to Gucci, that's equivalent to Prada, that's equivalent to, Louis Vuitton. It just takes the right steps. It just takes the right energy. And that's my path, just like I'm in a process of writing a TV show. It's the same analogy. Ultimately, if we were never meant to be in that race, that's cool and all. But then you have this one fruit that the one fruit that's like, you know what? I want to jump in that race. I want to be in that race, and I'm gonna be in that race, and ain't nobody gonna stop me from being in that race. But they like, and then everybody else around you, man, I don't know. That ain't really what you're supposed to do. You're really supposed to go, so you're supposed to act a little bit, saying somebody else gonna write the thing, somebody gonna do this, somebody else gonna make the clothes. You're just supposed to go buy them. Well, I don't want to buy that no more. And everybody's gonna look at you funny along the way because you're doing something that's abnormal. You're doing something that's out of the ordinary. And that I think that's where it all boils down to is like what that individual person wants and how much they're willing to push for it. So
and that's interesting that we touched on that. One quote from Martin Luther King was, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." One of the reasons for me doing this podcast today was I started to feel as though Martin Luther King was starting to get discredited. I don't. I was personally feeling like that we wasn't giving it as much light to the situation that we should be giving it to. Um, so with that quote being said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. What does that mean to you?
I think that we need to always voice our opinion, the things that matter. Whether you believe the Black Lives Matter movement is where it's at, or whether you believe that, we're still fighting the war to be treated equal. Whatever your belief is, like you said, whenever you be silent about the things that matter, that's when your life ends. Um, we can continue to speak our piece. We can continue to do what we feel, and set the example. And then, like you said, we pray that people can look at us as examples and follow the lead. But you do have to have a voice. And I said earlier, I watch a lot of Animal Kingdom, and talking about the lions and things like that. The narrator was talking about this one lion. He was getting to the end of his reign, and he had some young lions come in and challenge him for the throne. And as powerful and majestic as a lion is, the narrator said, as long as he got a roar, he still got to fight, and he got a fighting chance. And so the lion was getting beat pretty bad, and on his deathbed, on his last little way out the door, he let out one last giant roar to let the youngster know that he still have life left. And about what you just said is the moment the lion loses his ability to roar, it's a done deal. He's dead. He don't have the ability to defend himself because most of his defense comes from his roar. And that's our voice that we speak out amongst the things that's not good. And that goes along what you're saying. We die when we lose the ability to open our mouths and speak the truth and speak what we feel like is right.
Very well said. If I could chime in, I would say that using your voice is a matter of perspective. And we've all heard it said before that a person's perspective is their reality. But as I've listened to people and as I've digested a lot of things that they have said, I've learned that even though their perspective may be their reality, or their perception may be their reality, it does not make it true. So I think that when we have our voice and when we speak, we can't speak on or from the platform of misinformation, nor can we speak from the platform or the perspective of misinterpretation of information. So I think as we look and we strive to become better people and stronger as a body of people and as a body of believers, we must make sure that our perception is rooted and grounded in truth, and that our voice is based on the proper interpretation of information. And I think as we do that, we'll be living and fulfilling the dream that Martin Luther King had for us. And that is the dream of never losing hope until we strive to reach and get to that next level.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. So my next question is, of course, for the group. In today, in January 2022, where do you see the community? How do you see the community developing?
I alluded to this earlier, and y'all forgive me, man. I'm just excited to be up here with you, brothers. But it's really hard, and Sam, you can speak to this, and you can identify this with being in Kansas, as I am in Kansas. I'm originally from the East Coast, originally from a predominantly black community there in the East Coast, from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia areas where I was birthed and raised. But I'm coming to know and learn that our black community is fading away. There was a time where you may have lived a block or two from your auntie, your uncle, or whatever the case may be. Those days are many days behind us. We're doing much better than we have been before with employment. We're doing much better because we have this equal housing rights ability, that where we can go buy a house and a neighborhood of our dreams. We're doing much better because we can buy the 500 SEL 550 AMG, the Range Rover, the Bentley, the Hellcat Challenger. We're doing much better than we were before. So the thing is, I don't really see our community coming together. I see our community dissolving. And I see it dissolving not because we, quote unquote, don't have a love for each other, but because we've become so disassociated one with the other. So it's hard for me to build up a brother who's in need if he never crosses my path. Whereas we see in our communities of days of old, because of the constant communion of us as a people, we were able to uplift and build each other up. So one of the challenges I see to our community going to its next level as a people is the fact of there's conflict and obstacles to our communion.
Hey Sam, can I piggyback off of Pastor Johnson?
Yes,
Being
sir.
living out here in Kansas as well. And again, I just started my business a couple months ago, and I can say that a couple African Americans have patronized my auto detailing business. Pastor Johnson being one of them, and I thank you. Um, but we as a community out here, we see that a lot of people are we're not having those community events, and some of that is also in the last 2 years since COVID started. We have a lot of people social distancing, which they talk about all the time, themselves. Um, and um, and like Pastor Johnson said, the black community out here in Kansas, they are few in numbers. And me also being from Virginia and going home frequently, you can see that I have an uncle that has a food truck down in Virginia, and one of the churches that he go to, he puts the food truck in front of the church, and people are able to help him out with his black-owned business and come patronize him, and he's able to flourish. But in certain areas of the United States, we're not at, or we're not like where we're supposed to be at, or we're not helping those that are in the community as much as we need to. And I believe that we just have to be, as Pastor Johnson actually talked about on Sunday, we have to be fully persuaded to help others, fully persuaded in our spiritual life, fully persuaded in our physical life, and things that we do for the community, and things that we do to help others, so that we can build each other up, so that we can go to the next level.
Man, I love it, man. I love it, man. And shout out to your auto detailing business. I'm so sorry I did not mention that. But shout out to your auto detailing business. Definitely want to throw that out there. So if you guys looking to get your car clean, detailed, and waxed just right, hey, I know somebody. I know somebody.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
so my next question I had was for the CEO of H Express. Um, I want to talk a little bit more about the difference between the South and the North communities. Um, so, do you feel, as a CEO, that the Black community is stronger in the South or in the North?
Hey, it is. Wheesh. It's like it's a little bit different on both. So I have I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. So all my family lives in Chicago. We moved to California, then we moved down to Mississippi. So I literally have people in the north and I have people in the south. And it's a little, I mean, yeah, eesh, that's a tough question. I mean, the community itself in the South, I mean, they stick together, and I mean, they both have their ups and downs. I mean, is there a better way that you could throw that question? Like, what exactly do you mean by the question? I'm a little bit off on it.
Okay, Mr. Evans, you from Mississippi, huh? Born, raised, and cornbread fed. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Born and raised. Yes.
So we know how it is in Mississippi. So in Mississippi, could you talk more about the Black community? How compared to other Black communities from different parts of the world?
So coming from Mississippi, man, is Mississippi gonna always be my home. It's gonna always be, where I reside at. Um, but success wise, I wasn't able to be as successful back home as I am away from home. And I feel like that's because it really depends on where you at in the world. Even the Bible speaks about Jesus. A prophet is not welcome or not received in his own country. And so people respond to you differently outside of your home than they do inside your home. I get a lot of that crab in a bucket feeling at home in Mississippi versus I done been to California, been to Cuba, I done been to Texas, I done been to Oklahoma, Florida, South Carolina, and now I'm in North Carolina. The people in the South stick together more, but the mentality of the people in the South is not a successful mentality. You talk about being able to overcome obstacles and going to a place and reinventing yourself. You could be anybody you want to be when you move to a new state. I have received more success and more support from people outside of the South, like in the North, versus being back home in the South. And I don't know if it's a mentality thing, but it's one of those things that they stick together in the South, but they stick together for more foolishness things versus like it's not a correlation in the South where they say we're going to support all black businesses and make sure everybody in black businesses survive. It's more of a crab in a bucket mentality in the South for me than in the North or in the northern states. You can get more support because it's a different mentality, and it has to be the way people was raised in the North versus in the South. Southern hospitality is always going to be there. They can get together and have a drinking party and have a cookout. That's always going to be there. Have a get together. But when it comes down to like being about your father's business and being about being, able to patronize your people and help your people succeed, I will go with some of the our communities in the North as opposed to being in the South, and that's just my experience. 41 years old. That's my experience.
Do y'all feel like that we need to earn your spot in that? Do you? Because I mean, like, one thing that I ask myself that's different, that makes it different is like, what have I done to make somebody want to even have my product? Or like, just if we were throwing the question at you guys, what have people done? What have you done to make people want to do your, come to you for their cars or come to your church or, come and talk with you on your thing? I feel like that's one thing that us as black people, we get entitled off the bat, and I have to humble myself like, hey, you ain't put in them hours to deserve that. And I was a recruiter, pretty good one, I like to say. And one thing that I was like, man, I don't understand how I didn't get more people to sign up or get somebody to do this or do that. But you have to prove to the people in your community that you were worthy of all the other stuff that somebody has done before. Somebody before me came up with a black business, and then they might have not done everything that they said that they were gonna do. And then sorry about that, my daughter, but they didn't do everything they said they were gonna do. Now it's been tarnished. So I feel like that I have to find my way to be able to show people that I am of that standing to be in that pot, as opposed to me just coming in and say, hey, everybody got to support me because we all blacks stick together,
Even when you do that though, I done been in a situation where I done patronize everybody in the community. Even when you do that, you still have people that's going to hate on you because they're not able to accomplish what you're able to accomplish.
Oh yeah,
You got people that will still know you doing business, and they grew up with you, and they'll still go to somebody down the street, somebody white, to do it, and they'll pay full price for the white man price. But when it comes down to the black man, everybody want to do it on a hookup. Everybody want a discount, a deal, but you're not getting a deal when you go down the street. So what I'm saying is, even when you do what you're talking about doing, you still have some people that's just not going to support you because it's not them. You know what I mean? And they're not going to, and until they become a business that depends on the black dollars, they're not going to understand the point of patronizing your own people. I do it even when I don't even like the product. I go and I support my people because I know that I want people to support me. But you can still do that, and they'll still they'll complain about everything, want to get a free deal because they don't feel like, oh, you scratched my car, can I get a free wash? Or but they'll go down. You go to Walmart, you can't negotiate prices with Walmart. Whatever the price say is what you pay. But when it comes down to black businesses, we always want to come in on a homeboy hookup. And I tell people that if you was my real homeboy, you would not only pay me full price, but you would give me a tip because you want to see me win. And when I see you doing something, I'm going to be the first ambassador to say that my boy looked out for me, I'm going to look out for him. But we don't have our people doing that in the hood. They'll expect you to give them everything for free. And like you said, that entitlement thing, or because you grew up with me, I owe you some type of discount. Or because you grew up with me, I owe you a free deal. Instead of saying, this is my partner, I grew up with him, so because I grew up with him, I'm going to pay him full price and even more because I want to see my man's win. And let me go ahead and promote his stuff on my first Facebook because, when he wins, I win. So you really have, like I say, in the South, you got a lot of crab in the bucket up north.
but it's a billion. I tell people it's a billion people in this world. So that I
It
was
is.
telling Samuel Williams the other day. I said, I started a Facebook, and off the bat it was like 190 people just jumped into the Facebook, was all following. How many of those people actually gonna buy it? I expect zero. I said you have to find your market. You got to find the people that's gonna do it, and I expect nothing more. I said I appreciate the shares, the likes, the all that stuff, but it's a million people in this world, and that's okay for him to feel that way. But you just gotta hold the line, hold the standard. Be like, hey, I understand that I'm your boy, but hey, now you can't get that. I'm sorry, bro. It don't work like that. And maybe one day down the line you could do promotion, a promotional wash or something like that. But I think that's one thing that I had to tell myself is, just because you come out with something and just because you get this set amount of people that follow this or do that, I think that you still got to go find that market of people that want their car detailed and that will hold, you know, what you have in your head to what you trying to get to, you know?
True that. True
And
that.
I think you said it right, H Express. I think you said it right when you said marketing. Marketing. You have to know your target audience. And you all know, like I know, that if we target the black community, there's gonna be some disputes with our product. There are gonna be some
Yep.
returns with our
Mm-hmm.
product. There's going to be not only that, and then there's going to be some mimicking of our products.
Product. Yep.
So, in order to safeguard yourself from all those different venues or avenues of, for lack of a better term, of attack to your business's character or well-being, you have to be responsible for the product you put out. You have to have integrity and character about your business, and you have to be flexible with your business. So it comes back to that. So now, what does that all mean and look like in a nutshell? What that looks like is I have to be able to present myself in a diverse manner. So even if I don't succeed with my own people, I have success coming from other avenues. One thing I faced as a local pastor, I only been pastoring for 5 years, but I did 21 years in the army, travel all over the world, work with some of the greatest men in the world, have developed some great friendship with many, many religious icons. However, what I did not do is I did not try to be like any of them. I stayed true to me and who I was. And if any, and as the young man stated, and if they don't accept me, you know, if was a spliff, then
That's
everybody
your
get one.
right. That's
But
your right.
so
Martin
so
Luther King,
so
and that's what Martin Luther King
I
fought
can't
for right there.
concern myself with that. So what I got to do is I got to continue to stay my course, and back to Dr. King, do it with excellence. And I find that one avenue that I can work. I know as a local pastor, one of the things that's going on in the media is a lot of pastors are falling short. They're making a lot of mistakes. So what I purpose is to treat my wife right, to treat my children right, and to be a man of character. So every time you see me, that stuff ain't gonna change about me. That ain't gonna change about me. And that's my brand. My brand is I'm a giver, I'm compassionate, and I'm a man of character. You ain't gonna see me going contrary to what I teach and talk, because that's who I am. That's my brand. So and so as we talk about business and we understand business, even like with Minister Barnes and his detailing business, when I asked him to detail my car, I didn't even ask him the price.
Nope.
What I'm asking him
Sure
the
didn't.
price for is my car. I wanted to look good. He the man with the skills to make it look good. Man, do what you do, and when you finish, send me what I owe you.
Yeah.
So and I feel that's the way that it should be for us. Number one, because I recognized him, I watched him, I know his character, and I know his work. And if I know that he can make somebody else stuff look good, and I want my stuff to look that good, then guess what? I take my stuff to him and let him work it, and I just pay what he requests. So I think that's where we have to be with it in a nutshell. We have to be people of flexibility, people of integrity, and people of responsibility. And no matter where you are, you always diversify, because if you put all your hope in one group of people, then you give all one group of people all the power to
Yeah.
cause you to lose your hope.
And I will piggyback off of the Pastor Johnson, and this is going back to what he said about knowing who you are. It can be 100 detail shops. It can be 2 million T-shirt companies. It can be 100,000 tax return and credit repair companies. McDonald's don't beef with Burger King because they are next to each other. In every city, you see a back McDonald's and a
Never
Burger
see,
King right
never.
next door,
Right,
because
right.
everybody don't want the Big Mac, but they might want the fries.
The Whopper.
Everybody don't want the Whopper, they might want the fries. So
Uh-huh.
if you got your secret sauce to what you doing in your business, it doesn't matter what somebody else do. They're gonna come to you. Even the Bible says, "My sheep know my voice." So if you did it, I moved in 5 years ago. I've been doing taxes inside of an office or an office building with a Hispanic tax preparer, and we sitting in there side by side. And when I first came to the building, she was mad at the landlord for renting to two different tax companies. And I told her, don't worry about what I got going on, because you only cater to the Hispanic community doing taxes. I say my company do taxes, credit, U-Haul, resume writing. So my people are gonna know what they're getting from me, and your people are gonna know what they get from you. So I'm not in competition with anybody. I do seminars where I teach people how to start a credit repair business. And somebody say, why are you training your competition? Is because I can give you the blueprint and the recipe to a cake. But if you don't mix it properly, it's
Right,
that secret sauce that you can't teach the personality of a person. So
right,
whatever you bring, Barnes, whatever you bring to the table, whatever you
right.
do to the cars, you keep doing your stuff, because they're gonna come back to you for what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Mr. H Express, what's your name, brother?
Paris.
Mr. Paris, whatever you do with your shirt company and your clothing line, you keep doing it, because yeah, it might be 100 options, but when they choose you over everybody else, it's because they choose you personally versus your product. Pastor Johnson, whatever you doing in your church, you keep doing what you're doing. You ain't got to compete with nobody else in the world, because there's
Oh no.
only you. There's only one you, and nobody can't beat you being you. So
That's
that's
right.
my message to the people who in the world who saying, "Oh, it's 100 people doing the same thing." Come up with it could be the same dance, but everybody gonna have their own little twist to it,
Let's twist
to the
to it.
same
Yeah.
dance, right?
You're right. You're right.
And they want to come to you for what you bring personally to the table. What God has for you is for you. Can't nobody take it away. So I will share my dream with anybody, because I know that even if they try to steal it, like Pastor Jonathan said earlier, if they try to steal it, they ain't gonna go forward with it, because it ain't for them. It ain't their
Mm-hmm.
mission, it ain't their purpose. God purposed it for me or for you. So anybody can steal it, but they ain't gonna know how to read the codes, you know what I'm saying, to get it done.
And that goes to something that Miles Monroe said. I don't know if you are familiar with Miles Monroe,
I know
but
him.
he's called Mr. Purpose. He's called Mr. Purpose, and he was one of the mentors, that man of God that laid their hands on me and prayed for me when I was a young boy. But one thing that Miles Monroe said, in order for the black man to become great, is he must read from people in his field of other cultures, ethnicities. And he must become so diverse in his trade that he's able to reinvent the trade based on who he is, not changing the purpose of the trade, but changing the product of the trade because of who he is. And that's related to our purpose. What are we doing in our trade to make us different from somebody else, that gives it our flavor, our swag, our vibe, our flex, however you want to call it? What are we doing? And that's the thing that made Martin Luther King so great, because he used his voice. He used his voice and his influence in a manner that, whereas even though if it wasn't a social rights event, a social activist event, just like he was working for the when he went and did the thing for the trash men, that wasn't a social event. That was because them fellows had to eat lunch on the back of a dump truck. They didn't get equal rights for dump truck. But they got the job, but they just had to eat in a different place. So when we look at it, he used his voice to give them leverage because now he done help them scratch their back. Now they can scratch his in the social and civil rights field. And that's what I think we have strayed away from as a community, even though we don't live in the same place, even though we don't do the same things. And I'm gonna find a way to patronize all you brothers because that's just what I do. So make sure that I get your information because I want to patronize each of your businesses because that's just who I am. And so make sure I get your information. So and as we do this, we help push each other forward. And like the Bible say, I won't gonna preach today, Mr. Evans. I won't. I won't.
Go
I
ahead
won't.
and preach, brother.
I won't.
Go ahead and preach,
I
bro.
won't.
Go ahead
I
and
won't, I
preach,
won't
bro.
gonna preach
Preach,
today.
preach.
I was trying to be good, but
Yes,
God
sir.
is raising up somebody somewhere
Hmm.
inside of the earth to be a blessing to you. And as I've stated to my church prophetically and revelationally, and it has come to pass, there's a man with a
With a
pen
check.
and a
Huh?
checkbook,
Yes,
and he's
sir.
looking for you. You just make sure you can handle him when he get to you to write your check.
Amen. I received that,
So
brother. I received that
Yes,
100%,
sir.
brother.
so speaking of checks, our last topic that we was talking about today was the opportunity to get more involved in the community. So I know for Royal Enterprise, um, as a nonprofit organization, one thing that we're doing is we're looking to get into sponsorship program to be able to give somebody a scholarship. With that being said, I would like to know some of the things that you guys are doing in the community with your businesses um, to help promote.
One thing I do every year, I give out turkeys for people in the area. I find one family a year to sponsor for Christmas. For every so many credit repair I do senior citizens for free. I do free training on financial freedom and things like that. So I do what I can for the community. I'm always investing in other black businesses, whether they starting out or whether they've been established for a while. I help on the show inside the den. I let business owners come on the show and use my show as their platform to advertise for their businesses as well. So those are just some of the things that I'm doing in the community, along with the mentorship program and things like that to help be self-sufficient. So we don't, like I say, don't have to have an excuse of, somebody holding you down when you can, go to the community and everything. And this for Pastor Johnson, everything you need is inside the house. There's somebody inside the church that is a blessing that can actually connect you to certain things. And it's all about networking. So that's what I do. And I don't mind doing it because I have the power. As a business owner, you have the power to change people's lives and you have the power to give people something that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do if you was working with somebody else. So because I have the power to do some credit repair for free or some taxes for free, I use my power to help the community because I want, not necessarily wanting in return, but because it's my job to be a servant for my people.
And I like to say, since I do have the youngest business probably in this podcast, the first thing I started doing was promoting myself. And one of the things that I did was, which I thank God for Pastor Johnson, is he brought in a guy that counsels businesses. He's within our church organization, and he was able to pour into us at a Tuesday night instead of Bible study. We had like an entrepreneur business mentorship program, and
Mm.
he was able to pour into us, and he was able to basically prophesy over me because I already had the feeling that I had to shift and I had to move into not just working for the army, but having my own business, like like Mr. Perry said as well. And I still work for the um
Do
he was able to
something
open
there.
doors. and pour into me, and Pastor Johnson was able. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you
Yep,
good
you
now?
Okay. Yeah, he was able to pour into me. He was able to prophesy over me, and then I was able to actually have my first couple customers, which was a couple of our church members, and also a couple people within my wife's job and my job. And so then I didn't charge them an arm and a leg, but I had to come from a place where I I just got to show you what I can do. I got to show
Right.
you this product, and I got to put this product on the street, and I got to show you how good I can do it. So then you can go tell your friend, and your friend
Mm.
can tell their friend, and then next thing I know, all of Facebook is coming in and asking me to detail their car. And then I had a setback. Things happen. I hurt my leg. So right now I'm down, but I still have people asking me and calling me every day. Hey, can you detail my car? And I said, just give me a couple more weeks. Just give me a couple more weeks. I'll be back on my feet in a couple more weeks. And it's by the grace of God chiming to me or chiming in and helping me establish my business, being only in a couple months in, not even maybe 1 or 2 months in. As far as pouring back into the community, all I could do is not charge them as much as the other detailers would charge and give them beyond the services the other detailers would do. And so I got to go beyond, and that's my product because I love to do it, and it's not going to change. So
Okay.
As far as H's Express, I mean, I'm a very young business as well. But things that I've always been able to do is give out promotional stuff. I've been giving. I always like to give one, and it's right now, like I said, with my company just now on the rise, I haven't done anything, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, H Express is doing this or doing that. I'm definitely one thing I ain't never been as a liar, so I won't start lying today. But one thing that I always find myself doing is just me being Paris Harrington in the community. Whenever I go somewhere, I don't know how. I know it's my mom passed away when I was very young. It's always been dear to my heart. And I got adopted by my great aunt, and then she passed away. So two moms gone. And I always feel like that they both are just watching over me. And I always find myself doing the weird, most unorthodox things, no matter of what your race is or what if you're a kid or if you're an adult. The other day, I don't know what drove me to do it. It was some people out with Girl Scout cookies and Boy Scout cookies on both sides at the mall. And I saw this couple in front of me. They looked like a fairly young couple, and I saw them, and I just kind of like sat back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk slow. Didn't stop behind them. I didn't stop. I just kind of like act like I was tying my shoe. And then I just kind of was listening to them, like, oh, we should get this bag of this or this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay. Then they had two kids that ran up, and I was like, yo, I'm just gonna buy all whatever they buy. I'm gonna get it for them. I don't know what possesses me to do that stuff. If I see, like I think about a week ago, me and my daughter was in the car and we went to go get some Panda Express, and I saw a young man on the side of the road saying asking for money, and I was like, yo, let me get an extra Panda Express meal, and then I gave him a meal, not because, and nobody knew it. Obviously, y'all guys know it now that I'm telling you, but I just find myself doing like little stuff like that, just because I want to be able to do something that I hope if I ever needed something that somebody would do to me. Um, Thank God I've been blessed enough to be able to be put in a position where I don't need too much and I don't want for anything. But ultimately, when I see my business doing a foundation and being able to do something where I can give back in the stuff that I can no longer do. So I ended up hurting my back in the military and got 5 levels of my back fused with metal. One thing that I love is basketball. So right now my daughter does cheerleading, and I want to be able to give back to the youth and do like kind of like what Royal Enterprises does and do some type of I'm not sure exactly where I want to go with it, so I'm not going to say, but I just know I want to do something where I can give my knowledge of basketball back to the youth because I see them struggling out there, and I just really want to give that. So that's definitely where I see it going,
oh
though.
yeah.
All right. So we got Pastor Johnson. We got remarks from you, and then we're gonna close it up. And we'll prepare for our next. We have another show is coming from the Den later on in the week. Said Saturday. Am I correct, Mr. Evans? Yeah. So the next time we'll be doing something like this will be from the Den. His topics, his choice, his Den. But Pastor Johnson, if you want to touch on it before we close out. Well, I'm gonna take that
You there?
that silence. Oh, okay, you there?
No, I'm asking. Is he still there? Look like he's.
He might have had to go somewhere, so he might not be there.
Yeah, he
But
probably got
Pastor
it. So
Johnson.
yeah,
Hey, I
yeah.
would
So
I would like to say something right quick. I appreciate y'all for being a young entrepreneur. I started, man. I was washing and cutting grass at 5, 6, 7 years old, just trying to make some money, man.
yeah,
Down in Virginia. So I did this all my life, and I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all a blessing. And I see Pastor Johnson's back on, so we can have words from him. But I appreciate y'all because this is truly a blessing. It gives me hope. It gives me understanding. It gives me that there's other black young men striving to do something great in our community, and I appreciate it.
that's what's up. That's what's up. All right, so we're gonna have remarks from Pastor Johnson. You got anything you want to touch on? Our last conversation that we was talking about was pouring back into the community. We was talking about things that we do personally to put back into the community. You on mute right now. Give me a second. The
Right.
admin. Okay.
I thought I had graduated from this, man, but this doggone COVID-19 keep me. But I would like to commend each and every one of you for the role that you played to Mr. Royal Enterprise and the person of Samuel Williams. I see the influence that you have in the community with our young children of all classes and cultures. And I want to say I commend you, and I'm godly proud. I'm elated to be connected to you. To Mr. Paris, whom I just met, once again, please share with me your information.
Me as
Um,
well, Mr. Perry.
Try to patronize your
gotcha.
business in some shape, form, or fashion. To Mr. Evans, God bless you, man. You sound like a man of great wisdom, and I'm praying God's blessings upon everything that your hands find to do. And of course, to Mr. Barnes, I know your struggle. I know where you've come from. And we don't say this enough to each other, but I want to say from one black man to another that I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud to see where you've coming. I'm proud to see your stance as a family man, as a father, and as a husband. And I want to challenge each of you all to continue to do so. And as we begin to depart from this call, I just want to thank you for being honest and forthright with us as we share our thoughts and opinions, our perspectives from whatever angle that we shared it from. To Paris, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to find a restaurant in Covington, Washington, and Kent,
Oh yeah, I
Washington.
know about coverage.
The
I
name
got
of
you.
that restaurant, those restaurants are Nana's.
No, that's right.
Nana's. When you go to that restaurant, you ask for Mr. Minor, who is the owner, and you tell him that Tommy Johnson sent you. And he is a city councilman. He is the worldwide director of sales for Microsoft and Bill Gates. You tell him that I sent you. He's like a brother to me. And while you're there in Seattle, I guarantee you he will take you underneath your wings and show you every trade you need to know about business and connect you with the ins and outs of doing business in that area, the Pacific Northwest, as a black man. Don't forget it. Todd Miner, Nana's Kitchen. So, with that being said, please share with me. I've had an awesome time. I'm gonna go ahead and cook and spend some time with my wife, and you all continue to strive to do things in the spirit of excellence and make our communities great, your families great, your communities great, our states and our nation great. God bless you.
Amen.
That's what's up. So I definitely want to give a shout out to the admin guy, Mr. DJ. Um, Meadows, I almost forgot your name, bro. He's the admin guy that's working behind the scenes. He's the one that's flipping the pictures around, got the pictures in the background. He's been assisting us
Okay.
throughout the whole process. So definitely a big shout out to him. Right now, he's also an entrepreneur. He has his own radio station, 106. It's the Wire 106 out from Atlanta. So definitely shout out to him. He's doing great things out there. Um, I want to thank all of you guys for coming out, man. Definitely blessing. I'm sorry, I got a message. Definitely a blessing having you guys on the podcast. Like I said, this is one of the what 6 or 7 of many that we have done, and we're going to look to continue to strive to do more. The goal behind this is to continue networking, to continue pulling communities together, to continue pouring into the community, and just passing out that wisdom and that knowledge. It's all about generational wealth. What are we going to leave for the people behind us? So with that being said, do anybody have any questions, concerns, anything they want to get off their chest? Any save rounds?
I just saw what was the gentleman's name at the restaurant?
Todd Minor.
Todd Meyer.
Todd and then Minor. Yep, I know him as well. Great guy. I used to live in Seattle, man. I was stationed
Okay.
up there at Fort Lewis for 3 years.
And
Okay.
my son is there in special forces. He's in first group out there. My son is with special forces out there in Seattle. So I'll be up there next week. He get promoted. I mean next month.
Awesome.
Yep.
I'll leave y'all with this. One thing that I'm striving to do, and especially going into y'all new into y'all ventures. I know you got your show that's coming up, Mr. Evans. One thing that I'm striving to do, reason why I'm doing all of this stuff that I'm doing is I want to leave my daughter and my wife. Obviously my wife with me, but my daughter, I want to leave her 4 things. I want to leave her some land. So ultimately, I see myself moving down to Texas and getting a nice land with a nice house with at least 6 or 7, 8 acres. I want to leave.
That's what's up.
Obviously, I got a life insurance policy. If anything was ever happen to me, that's one way to set your family up. So a lot of people look down on life insurance, but make sure you get some because that could be the difference in you changing your whole child's life if you're no longer here. I want to leave her a lump sum of some type of money that's not dealing with life insurance. And then I want to leave her a business that's at least making it above water where all 4 of those things, if I go away, she's good. And those are the 4 things I keep striving to get to: land, money for my daughter, a life insurance policy, and some type of business so that she's good. So something to leave on y'all mind.
I sell life insurance and retirement plans, so y'all can hit me up and we can talk about that. But
I'm gonna hit you up because I'm about to get rid of one of the ones I got. I think it's like term life, and it keeps
I
going
got you,
down.
brother. I got something that's gonna bless your whole generation. I got something that's way better than what you ever heard. Come talk to me. I got you, brother.
Gotcha.
Yeah, send me that information, Mr. Evans.
Where you at on Facebook, brother? I mean, go ahead and get you on Facebook.
You could put in Philip Phillip, and then Shayla Shaila. That's my wife's name. We got a dual
Philip.
Facebook.
You said Philip and Shayla?
Just Philip Shayla. It's all she got it combined. And then last name Barnes, Barnes.
Barnes.
Yep.
Okay. Philip
And
Shayla.
I'll check it out. Right now I got
Man,
Mama Bear.
I didn't hear all that conversation. What y'all was talking about now? Y'all sound like y'all networking.
Oh yeah, we most definitely networking.
Life insurance. He does life insurance
Oh,
and
you do
other
life
things.
insurance too?
Yeah, I do life insurance and retirement plans,
Plan.
IULs, annuities, things like that to help you. We do living
What
benefit,
carriers do
all
you
that
work
type of
with?
stuff. I'm with a company called PHP Agency.
PHP.
Yeah, I just took out me $1 million policy, so I think I'm locked in.
Do you
But
have any? Do you have any living benefits, sir?
yes, yes,
Okay, so you do have living benefit.
yes. I've been having living benefits since 1998
Well, you know what's up then.
with annuities and mutual funds. That's just something I believe in. I have policies on my children. My children are almost 30 years old, and I have a policy that covers them until they're 70.
That's awesome. That's awesome. See, that's generational wealth. That's a legacy that you actually able to provide for your family because whenever you leave this world, you don't want your kids to have to start over or your grandkids got to start over. You want to leave them something where they can pick up the baton and run to the next level because you left them something to run with. That's awesome, brother.
We hoping that we ain't got to pick up no baton. Hopefully hey, you won the race. We start a new level.
What
Yep.
Hey,
and
you jump. It's like Monopoly. You were on level 3. You are now on level
Yep.
48.
Well, there you go.
I say this when it comes to your children. I mean, my children are older. All my children are grown. But I would say this: whatever you do, um, welcome them into it and include them in it. That's just like even though me and my children's mother are not together, I got an insurance policy out on her for them too. So they getting it from every angle, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, well that's in this broadcast. I want to thank all you guys for coming out, sharing your opinion. It was a great networking event. Great way to pour into the community. A great way to honor Dr. King, and everything he stands for. So appreciate it, man. So we're gonna end the live now, unless anybody else got anything else they want to get out. Takers, no. I'm gonna take your silence as a no. All right, man. Well, it's been real.
All right, Justin. All right.
All right, y'all.